Hey!
Camera comes back online and then the forest is on fire.
Well, I noticed that there's some like videos going around the internet of some interesting bodies, notably like the cat that's like left standing up, and then the dog that's in the street, and also like the people laying on the road too. One of them with the special kind of like hairstyle, and I don't really know if we're going to get many bodies to be able to analyze what's going on, but I was able to get something from ground zero.
Because he was in ground zero for how long?
2 weeks. And this right here
this is the
is a toad that is petrified or mummified in mid-leap. So you can see the angle of it. It's not squatting down. It's very symmetrical in every way that it is, and you can see those legs just jumping. So whatever it is that happened in a split second.
Yep. So this was from Maui, ground zero.
Yep, I sifted it from the ashes where there was melted aluminum 20 feet away.
So this frog should have turned to ash.
It even has some ashes on the bottom. It's kind of gray. And it got a little bit on the edge of some heat, but it didn't contort it or anything. It's just perfectly symmetrical, petrified. And it seems mostly hollow, but the skin is totally solid and intact.
That day, the fire more than tripled in size. It was a race to get everyone out, a staggering 26,000 people. Roads were clogged. It took many an hour to get out.
There's smoke in the air, so bad.
The sky, a blood orange red. The fire would hopscotch certain neighborhoods, leaving some homes obliterated, others seemingly untouched. That day, 347 homes would be completely destroyed.
Now I noticed as we were driving, because we went in a couple other neighborhoods, that you'd have a house that was just cinders, and then right next to it looked untouched. So what's happening? These are like little balls of fire. So what's happening? These are like little balls of fire.
Okay, so guys, I think we'll want to be over here. He's going to walk down the sidewalk.
Yeah. So what's happening? These are like little balls of fire.
There appears to be, with the evidence of causing us to suspect these technologies being used to intentionally start these fires, which I would remind everybody that if people are intentionally starting these fires, they are guilty of genocide. Period, the end. But it appears with these technologies that there is some correlation to it causing its own local wind pattern. And that was evident with the Tubbs fire down through the Napa Valley. The people were reporting these crazy winds, and people were even reporting it quite a distance away from there. There was, I saw some reports where people felt it in San Francisco.
And typically fires do create their own weather. They create their own wind and create their own weather. And
we're talking at the start though.
So when you first posted this, Chopper, I was already looking at military helicopters that were seen in some of the videos from the 8th and the 9th, but I couldn't see them well enough to identify any of them. However, this photo was clear enough to see that it's definitely a Seahawk, and it does have the Raytheon multispectral electro-optical targeting system. It's basically an electronic eye mounted on the nose that can see in multiple spectrums at once, such as normal vision and infrared, or heat vision. It also electronically assists the targeting mechanism to aim its weapons more accurately than humans can. Seahawk detachments typically perform anti-submarine and anti-mine operations, which often utilize a laser module about the same size and shape as this extra fuel tank and in the same position. So it's especially easy to confuse at first, especially when the numbers have been covered or removed as they were over Maui.
So she started moving all her plants inside and moving all the cushions and the chairs and bungee cords. And he said all of a sudden a lady across the street started screaming, "Help, help, I got a fire coming up under the ground."
Typically perform anti-submarine and anti-mine operations.
I got a fire coming up under the ground.
And they were replacing all these guardrail sections.
Interesting.
Okay, and then on 175, Hopland Grade, same thing's going on up there. Guess what else they're replacing?
All the pipes?
The culverts.
Well, oh, they melted? The culverts? We don't know.
We don't know.
Wow.
But they're replacing them for some reason. That one I couldn't figure out at all.
Wow. And could you explain to our listeners, what is a culvert?
Generally, under the roadway, a culvert is heavy steel, corrugated, galvanized steel. And it's just to allow for,
like the ribs,
for runoff.
The ribs of the road, or where the guardrails are?
To where water flows underneath the road.
Okay,
underneath
got it.
the road.
So it doesn't wash out the road.
Yeah. It's like a big pipe.
Wow, so under the road, they're replacing those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which they had to cut the pavement and then pull the old one out and put the new ones in. So
here's what's wild. Of course, they didn't let us in here for a few months, so we don't know everything that's transpired. But what's really wild is this repair. So this building, perfectly fine, right? Can you see it? It's perfectly good. Well, except for that little area down there. Now check this out. They tore up all this asphalt right here. And these are an underground culvert. I don't know if you can see that very well, but if you stick your fingers in the side here, you come up black with ash. And you can see a bunch of ash that's in there, right? And then this was all recently dug up. And then if you walk down to this end of the building, you can see there's a burned out boat over there. And you got this whole area here is super scorched, right? Super scorched. And on the other side of that car is a boat that's melted. There's a boat. See that? Look at that. That's a boat. I checked it out earlier. There's somebody down there now. I don't want to be up in someone's grill on live YouTube, but you can see the boat trailer. The boat's melted and that building is scorched. I went inside the building. It smells like smoke, but it's not burned. It's not burned at all. But why was this torn up? And each one of these are filled with black ash.
Boats, trailers, you know, these vessels that that wouldn't readily burn, that were on pavement, that down to nothing. I mean, so completely. So it's just, where did the heat come from? How did that happen? And so
we couldn't explain it. In most cases, we could not explain it by the surroundings of the vehicle. In other words, some of them were parked in parking lots or driveways.
So what's happening? These are like little balls of fire.
That when you see the fence posts that are burned where the wire went through.
Right.
Or all the, you know, and that explained the cars, the metal. So it's the metal, anything that was touching the metal, it just seemed like burned really, and these houses burned from the inside out is what it looked like. The most destruction and devastation was on the inside. And so I'll get to it right now. It reminds me of, you know, the metal car down to nothing left, just a shell, and the plastic garbage can just fine. It reminds me if you had a big microwave and you could put a plastic toy or, you know, in there, and you can put some tin foil, which one's going to do better?
Right, and they tell us always to avoid metal.
Or a piece of wood and a piece of metal. You know, well, wood burns, metal doesn't, right? Well, in a microwave, what's gonna burn?
This is insane. Oh my God! Look at this. These are homes just going up. Oh my God. I live right down the street. And look at this. Holy shit. This is absolutely crazy. Look at those. That's a house. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is so insane. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. I'm sitting here watching. Holy cow. Look at that. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wow. There they go.
The narrative is that this was a huge, rapidly advancing forest fire that blew embers everywhere and caught these houses on fire.
Okay.
One house here is destroyed. right over there, the house is fine. And Matt and us did not see the evidence present for that theory to hold. In other words, what we saw were the trees around these homes that were completely destroyed, where the trees were burnt. We both observed that the fire on those trees and the burning process on those trees was probably secondary to the house itself burning.
Interesting.
So it's the other way around. Instead of the forest, burning in and burning these houses and consuming it, our evidence showed us time and time again that
forest was the exposure.
Wow.
So the exposure is something that catches on fire because of the...
All I have of my mom was pictures left. I don't have none of that anymore.
Metal stuff, I want the roof. And this white stuff is my walls.
Terry and his wife were helping to raise their grandchildren in this home.
All those bricks and the metal pieces, that was my playhouse. It was almost done, but the Bible burned it down.
We watched 5-year-old Carter Boyd.
This was my truck.
Salvage his favorite belongings.
Yeah, these were the cooking books and that.
While Carter was sifting through his favorite toys, his grandfather sat there thinking he can't believe he made it out alive.
Reminds me, if you had a big microwave and you could put a plastic toy or in there and you could put some tin foil, which one's going to do better?
So what's happening? These are like little balls of fire.
If people are intentionally starting these fires, they are guilty of genocide. Period, the end.